What is up? What is up, YouTube? It's your boy. What the hell was that? Excuse me. I don't know what the hell just happened there. It's your boy, the Prince of Petty. I am back with another episode. Man, I ain't got no funny, odd story to tell, man, because this story here was the story I'm doing today was for lack of better phrasing, pretty horrific. Yeah, I don't really have a segue into this story at all whatsoever, but we are gonna take a trip down to Rivera Beach, Florida. Where else? Where we meet a child that was 7 years old. That's all the time little Nia Williams got on this world. 7 years old, and instead of growing up playing Minecraft, learning how to write cursive, playing with dolls, playing with makeup, just living, her story ends in a hospital room. Her body broken, her life stolen, and the person accused of taking it, well, let's not say accused, despite the trial not being even started yet, I'm just going to go out on a limb and say she did it. Her own mother. Nikesha. Look, man, these hood right now. She got more vowels in her name than consonants. That is crazy. Naikisha. Nikesha. We're gonna go with Nikesha. Let's just go with that. Nikesha Williams. Boy, I tell you, these hood rat names. 31 years old. She's currently facing charges of first-degree murder and aggravated child abuse. And personally, let's call it like it is. This wasn't an accident. This wasn't a mistake. This was pure violence. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about the story of little Nia Williams. I'm going to take y'all on a journey of nonsense with this to get this little girl's story out. This is Black Hypocrisy or the Risky and Petty Show, whichever you want to go by. Stick around to the end because I like to believe I think I crashed out. I don't know. Let's just say I haven't used the ether beat in a while. Let's get it.
Bankai. Senbon Zakura Kageyoshi.
We're pressing the state for answers about the brutal death of a 7-year-old child in Riviera Beach. That little girl's mother is now behind bars, charged with first-degree murder. Tonight, we're hearing from loved ones who say they tried to get the child help in the weeks before she died.
WPTV's Kayla McDermott was in court today and explains the unusual circumstances about the custody of the child.
Police say inside of this house here in Riviera Beach is where they found this little girl, Nia Williams, beaten so badly she later died, and officers blame her mother.
We can never get her smile back. We can never talk to her again.
From taking care of her since she was 5 months old.
She was like my granddaughter.
And watching 7-year-old Nia Williams come into her own.
Well, Nia was brilliant. She's a fashionista. She loved makeup. She just was a lovely, lovely child.
Whitney Walker.
I'm godmother.
And Rebecca Finley.
Caregiver, which I was referred to as auntie.
Sat side by side as Nia's mother,
Nikesha Williams,
walked into court accused in her murder.
What goes through your mind when you look at her?
How could you?
In April, Riviera Beach police say they came here to West 15th Street on a call of an unresponsive child. Nia died at the hospital.
But she caused the death. That's why she's arrested, and it was definitely abuse.
On Thursday, 2 months after the child's death, a grand jury indicted Williams on 1 count of first-degree murder. The indictment reveals the cause of death: blunt force trauma to the abdomen.
She should have been in jail a long time ago.
For 10 years, Finley and Walker say they've been caring for Williams' 4 children on and off as unofficial foster parents. But in January of 2024, a year and a half ago, they say the kids returned to Williams' husband. Walker says she called DCF in early April.
The last time I saw them, they were very malnourished.
That was just 12 days before her death.
I told the DCF there wasn't one person that was not aware of this young lady being a dangerous mother.
Now, through their tears, Finley and Walker serve as Nia's voice as they fight to get her justice.
I'm guaranteeing she's saying, Auntie, tell them everything. Don't forget nothing. Tell them everything. So, I am not Rebecca Finley. I am Nia Williams.
Now, Finley told me Nia's siblings are safe and they're being taken care of, and we've been pushing DCF for a comment, but they've not gotten back to us yet. In Riviera Beach, I'm Kayla McDermott. Photos
That's what we keep in our heart.
and memorabilia of 7-year-old Nia Williams.
The memories, they're golden now.
I sat down with Rebecca Finley and Whitney Walker, 2 women who loved Nia
My baby, man, my baby. My baby.
and took care of her on and off as unofficial foster parents until police say the child went back to her mother, Nikisha Williams.
DCF put them back in her care.
That would be correct.
The 2 women are named as witnesses in Riviera Beach Police's summary of the case. As Finley and Walker say, they told DCF for years about the alleged abuse going on at this home on West 15th Street.
I fought to get that baby out of.
I also share with them how police say back in April, Nia suffered blunt force trauma to the abdomen, resulting in a lacerated liver and internal bleeding, allegedly at the hands of her mother, who investigators charged last week with first-degree murder. Police also say Nia's 3 siblings came forward, saying their mother would brutally punish them. But for Nia,
She was the one that suffered the brunt of most things.
and in the days before Nia's death, the kids say she was suffering with extreme stomach pain after being, quote, stomped on by her mother.
I'm just trying to keep it together, honestly. Everything hits home.
Horror that Nia's siblings reported on April 28th when she became unresponsive and later died.
Did she make the 911 call or was it somebody else?
It was one of the other children.
How is that to hear?
It's devastating, you know.
Lead detective on the case, Jennifer Jones, tells me police have never been called to the home for reports of child abuse. And she says officers were never contacted by DCF, learning after the fact that just 26 days before Nia's death, DCF filed a report detailing visible injuries on Nia and the other children. Police say the state took no action.
And I'm not happy with DCF. Somebody needs to be fired.
As painful as this is for Finley and Walker, officers feel the same.
The death of an innocent child is never normal. You know, it's hard for us to even fathom. The community have been traumatized. My department has been traumatized.
Now, since Williams' arrest on Friday, we've been pushing DCF, asking them how these children were able to be put back into her care and why no action was taken after caseworkers say they saw visible harm on the children. But the only response I got from them was them saying that this case is confidential. In West Palm Beach, I'm Kayla McDermott.
Continue to investigate the death of 7-year-old Nia Williams in Riviera Beach and why some believe the system designed to protect her failed. Reporter Caleb Califano spoke with a legal expert about what went wrong and what could come next for those involved.
Former Palm Beach County State Attorney and legal expert Dave Ehrenberg says based on the information released so far, it seems that the system may have failed Nia Williams.
This is so heartbreaking because based on what we know, there were so many red flags here. And that's what makes it so troubling, is that there were various opportunities to save this child's life. And yes, the system looks like it let this poor child down. And it's now up to prosecutors, it's up to government employees to start picking up the pieces and trying to hold accountable everyone involved.
Court records show 7-year-old Nia Williams died in April after suffering blunt force trauma to her abdomen. Her mother, Nikisha Williams, is now charged with her murder. Court records reveal Nia was hospitalized several times over the years and that just weeks before her death, a DCF report submitted by a former caretaker flagged knots on Nia's face, weight loss, a black eye, and signs of neglect. But police say nothing was done in time. Ehrenberg says civil lawsuits against the state are likely even if criminal charges aren't filed.
I think it's close to a certainty there'll be civil lawsuits when the state is entrusted with protecting are most vulnerable and then gets it so wrong, there will be a civil lawsuit. It is easier to sue someone civilly than to charge someone criminally, but state workers and the state agency have a level of immunity. But it doesn't mean they can't be sued, and they have been sued in the past.
Nia was temporarily removed from her mother's care twice by DCF and spent over 3 years living with that former caretaker. But after her mother regained custody, the former caretaker says she wasn't allowed to see Nia or the other children. The report also shows school officials told detectives Nia had missed more than 50 days of school and that she came in sick days before her death, vomiting and complaining of stomach pain. Ehrenberg says prosecutors will now begin the long process of building their case, looking at every aspect that led to her death. Florida's Children First is a nonprofit advocacy organization whose goal is to protect and advance the rights of children. They say this is exactly why stronger transparency and communication policies matter across the state.
I think in this case, one of our priorities is ensuring that children are protected to ensure accountability and transparency, and that's a really big piece all around the nation.
Teachers and school personnel are mandatory reporters under Florida law, so we asked if protocol was followed. The Palm Beach County School District says it's not able to comment specifically on that, but they did tell us that there are no school district employees at Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune Elementary School under investigation for failure to report child abuse, abandonment, or neglect. Caleb Califano, WPBF 25 News.
The state attorney's office has filed paperwork to pursue the death penalty against a Riviera Beach woman accused of killing her 7-year-old daughter. Nikisha Williams is being held without bond in the Palm Beach County Jail on capital murder charges. Investigators say her daughter, Nia, died in April after she was found by police and rushed to the hospital with injuries that are consistent with blunt force trauma. According to the autopsy report, Nia suffered internal bleeding and organ failure while she was in her mother's care after she was returned to her. As we previously reported, Nia's caretakers tried to warn authorities months before, but they say nothing was done in time to protect the little girl.
There you have it. April 28th. Police arrived to a home on West 15th Street. The 911 call didn't even come from the mother. Shocker. That's sarcasm. It came from one of Nia's siblings, another child, calling for help. Police arrived. They found Nia unresponsive. She's rushed to St. Mary's Medical Center. Doctors try. Too late. She's gone. And when the autopsy comes back, there's no doubt. It was obvious. It was a homicide. Think about that. That's not one bad day. That's not one mistake. That's a little girl's body being punished over and over until it finally gave out. Practically the damage of a car crash, but over a span of time. Diabolical. And now Nikisha, I can't believe I pronounced that right the first time. She sits in Palm Beach County Jail, no bond, indicted. And as you saw in the last video clip, she's facing the death penalty if she's convicted, which I believe she's going to be convicted. Here's the thing. This case didn't start on April 28th, 2025. It didn't start with that 911 call. This was years in the making, years of warnings, years of reports, years where the system failed to protect that little girl. After the autopsy, like always, the truth comes out. Severe blunt force trauma, a lacerated liver, internal bleeding, organ failure. Her siblings tell investigators what happened. They say her mother stumped on Nia's stomach in the days leading up to her death. They describe brutal punishments with belts. I mean, still bad, but my generation, we were beaten with belts. Not justified, but that's something that myself, my generation, we dealt with that. But where they lost to me was the beatings with metal pipes, with high heel shoes. And when prosecutors lay out the charges, thank you God they didn't hold back. Capital murder, aggravated child abuse, not just child abuse, aggravated child abuse. The indictment spells it out. This was premeditated. This was inflicted. This was intentional. And prosecutors say this crime qualified for the death penalty. Why? Because Nia was under the age of 12. Because the crime was just that heinous, that atrocious, that cruel. Because her mother had custodial authority. Ladies and gentlemen, in plain words, she was supposed to protect her child. Instead, she became a bully. Instead, she became an abuser. Instead, she became her killer. I don't see how anyone can hear this story and argue otherwise. Here's where the story gets really, I mean really infuriating. I mean completely infuriating. That because Nia's death didn't come out of nowhere. It came after years of red flags, years of warnings, years of people saying this child is in danger. Rebecca Finley and Whitney Walker, that was her name, yeah, Whitney Walker, women who stepped up to care for Nia, Whitney being the former caretaker, begged the state to help them. They reported the abuse. They saw the bruises. They saw her come back skinny, withdrawn, scared. They fought to keep her out that house. And what and what DCF did? Huh, silly rabbit. What they always do, they handed her right back to the psycho broad. They gave her right back to the mom. They handed her right back into the same unsafe home where the abuse was happening. Like their job wasn't to protect her, but to protect the mother. This wasn't one warning sign. This wasn't one mistake. This was a pattern of abuse that everybody knew about. Let that sink in. Everybody knew about this. Police reports shown that people had been voicing concerns for years. Nia had been removed from her mother's care not once but twice. She lived with a caretaker for over 3 years. 3 years. Understand that time frame. Nia was 7 years old. She was taken away from her mother twice. One time in particular, she lives with a caretaker for 3 years. That leaves 4 years. Divide those 4 years between the other person who had the child taken from her mom. Understand that timeline. That is wild. That means this little girl was probably with caretakers longer than she was with her mother. And every time she looked safer, every time there was hope, the state made the same daily decision. They gave her back. And the evidence was undeniable. 26 days before her death, less than a month, another report was filed. Visible knots on her face, a black eye, weight loss. But nothing was done in time. No intervention, no protection. No one to go whoop, nobody to go whoop the mama ass. School records showed the little girl missed more than 50 days of school. She came to school sick days before she passed, vomiting, clutching her stomach. That wasn't just a red flag, that was a fire alarm going off. And yet, every time the reports were filed, the boxes were checked, and she was just returned to the mama. Like a case number, not a human life. Her siblings told investigators the truth after she died. They were all punished. They were all beaten with metal pipes, high heel shoes, But Nia, she took the worst of it. She was singled out. I wonder why. I'll tell you why. Because Nikisha, she hated Nia's daddy. That's usually the reason. That little girl got kicked to sleep. She got stomped on until her organs gave out. And I'll say it again. This was not hidden. This was not quiet. This was in plain sight. The bruises, the hospital visits, the absences from school, the pleas from family, and the state still said, she's fine, give her back. That decision, that cowardly, reckless decision, is why Nia Williams is dead. Her mother may have physically killed her, but figuratively speaking, the system delivered her back into that house. And that is why this isn't just about one evil woman. This is about a system that saw the danger, acknowledged it, and chose paperwork over protection. And that choice killed a 7-year-old little girl. Now let's talk about the people who actually knew Nia. The ones who tried to protect her. The ones who were left picking up the pieces, so to speak. Rebecca Finley, who cared for Nia like her own, said it plain, and I quote, "I fought to get that baby out of there. The state of Florida failed her," end quote. Her godmother, Whitney Walker, said every time Nia came back from her mother's house, she looked thinner, withdrawn, broken down. She said, and I quote, "They didn't see the obvious signs. And that's what caused her demise," end quote. And the image that'll haunt you, this wasn't just a number or another case file. Nia was a normal little girl. You saw her photos in the news reports. She loved to do makeup. I'm pretty sure she loved cooking. She loved cleaning. The caregivers, they say she was full of joy. She was described as a baby of joy. She just seemed always happy. And that's crazy because when parents beat on toddlers, beat on infants, those toddlers, those infants, they still come back to that parent, to that abusive parent, still looking for that same happiness, still looking for that same joy, despite that parent being abusive. That joy that's gone now, she's dead. Because no matter how many times Finley and Walker raised their voices, the state kept handing that child back to the abuser. And the pain from this, it's raw, it's ugly, but it's permanent. Loved ones, they devastated. One said they can't breathe, they can't eat. Another one said flat out, death is perfect for her. Eye for an eye. That was in a news article I read. You can feel the anger in that. And honestly, who can blame them? I feel the same way. Kill her. I feel like she deserves that death penalty. Just like she off that child, the state should off her. The community itself is traumatized. The police chief admitted that the death of an innocent child is never normal. I agree with him when he said that. Imagine being the officers who showed up that night. Imagine being the medics who tried to save her that night. Imagine being the detectives forced to listen to the siblings, other children, describe years of beatings with pipes and shoes and belts and switches, I'm pretty sure, and other things that this woman probably picked up around the house as if her house was just a giant Barney bag of weapons. This isn't something you just shake off and forget. And for the community that loved Nia, for the people who actually cared for her, this isn't just heartbreaking, it's infuriating. Because the truth is, Nia didn't have to die. She had people fighting for her. She had people begging for her safety, literally and figuratively. And those pleas just went ignored every time. So now the grief is not only sad, but it's mixed with rage. And every person who failed has blood. Every person who failed Nia has blood on their hands, whether they want to admit it or not. And as far as the legal aspect, that safety net, safety net, bruh. If you think this story ends with just a mother facing trial, wrong. Because this has a sub story about a system that failed so completely bad. It might as well, bro. The system may as well have spoon fed Lil Nia to the lion itself. Former state attorney Dave Ehrenberg said it best. I got this in my notes. There were so many red flags, so many opportunities to save this child's life, and yes, the system looks like it let her down. End quote. Let her down. Silly rabbit, tricks are for kids. No, the system literally abandoned that child. It left her in danger and completely looked away. Think about this. Court records show Nia had been hospitalized multiple times for serious injuries. I don't know if y'all was paying attention, but if you go back to one of the news reports where Lil Nia was posing, you can look at her shoulder. You can look at her left shoulder. You can see it. It looked like the little girl was shot. It looked like she was shot. We're talking about black eyes, knots on her face, weight loss. I'm talking about the evidence is as clear as the earth rotates, making the sun rise. And what did the system do? Just return her again and again. They had her out her mother's care. They had her in safety twice. She was safe with caretakers who loved her for more than 3 years. And then the state ignored those same caretakers, ignored their pleas, ignored their warnings, just to give her back to the abusive ass mother. I was about to say something else. Not once, but twice. And weeks before her death, another report comes in with visible injuries, a black eye and bruises, and yet still no decisive decision, still no removal, still no safety. This isn't just incompetence, this is negligence. This is systemic failure. This is what happens when an agency designed to protect children treats those same children like numbers instead of human beings. So yes, Ehrenberg, he was right. Civil lawsuits should indeed be coming down. Oh yes, they should be. Because when you're entrusted with a child's life and you blow it this badly, you should be held accountable in court. FCF said it, Florida's Children First. This case shows a desperate need for transparency, for accountability. Because the way DCF handled Nia's case wasn't just flawed. Oh, they had some holes in this. And if we're being fully transparent, if we're being fully honest, when a child dies after years of reports, years of hospital visits, years of school absences and warnings, is not just a tragedy. It's government negligence. It's bureaucratic failure. And in my opinion, blood is on their hands too. Because Nia wasn't just killed by her mother. She was killed by a chain of failures, a chain of command, a chain of different people who all would just unilaterally claim their hands were tied. Failures from people who saw the danger and still chose not to act. And if it doesn't make you furious, it should. I mean, this little girl, Nia Williams, was murdered. She didn't just pass away. She didn't just succumb to injuries. She was murdered. And the person accused is her own mother. I was about to say something else again. 7 years old. And her life ended in pain, terror, and betrayal. Her liver was torn apart. Her organs bled inside her little body. She was stumped, beaten, and broken. And instead of protection, she got silence. Instead of safety, she got bureaucracy. Instead of action, she got people with coffee and paperwork. Instead of love, she got violence. And now people want to talk about justice. The state wants to talk about the death penalty. Her mother may spend the rest of her life in prison if the state don't kill her. I mean, that would be fine. She deserves that. Yes, absolutely. But let's keep it a buck. That's not justice. That's just punishment for one person. Justice would have been little Nia still being alive today. You know what real justice would look like? It looks like DCF doing their damn job when people reported bruises and abuse. It looks like schools refusing to ignore 50 missed days of class. It looks like doctors connecting the dots when a child shows up in the ER over and over and over and over and over again. It looks like the system finally saying enough. This child will be sent back to danger. This child won't be sent back to danger. That all that would have actually been justice. But none of that happened, clearly. Instead, every adult who could have saved her opted out. Her mother failed her, the state failed her, the community failed her. And now people are traumatized, people are heartbroken, people are saying the state of Florida failed her. They're right. The system didn't just miss the signs, they ignored them. And ignoring abuse is just the same as enabling abuse. Nia didn't just die because of her mother's violence. She died because of neglect at every feasible level. She died because of protocol, red tape, and indifference mattering more than her life. And here's what makes me sick. She's not the first child this has happened to. Clearly. And unless things change, she won't be the last. Clearly. How many more kids have to die before people wake up? How many more funerals do we have to watch? How many more headlines do we have to read that say authorities were warned, DCF was warned, teachers saw signs, caregivers begged for help, and still a child is dead? Y'all should be tired. I'm tired of reading the same stories with different names. I'm tired of hearing the system failed after a child is already 6 feet under. I'm tired of watching kids die while the same excuses get made. I don't know who this video will reach because hopefully it'll reach someone who has some kind of pool where I don't or where risky behavior doesn't. Because if they can't do that, then what good are they? People need to advocate change. We need change. What good is DCF if their decision sends kids back into abuse? DCF is out here sending kids to the upper room and they don't even know it. Either that or they just don't care. Personally, I believe it's the latter. What good is a school system if a child can miss months of class and nobody connects the dots? What good is that? What good is any of this if a 7-year-old ends up beaten to death, literally stumped to death in her own home after years of reports? Nia Williams deserved better. She deserved a future. She deserved to grow up, to live her life, chase her dreams. Instead, she was failed by people closest to her and the people who were supposed to protect her. And now her smile is gone forever. Her laugh is gone forever. Her presence, her chance at life is gone forever. For Nia, it's too late. We can't bring her back. We can't undo her suffering. But we can damn sure make sure this doesn't keep on happening. Hold her mother accountable. Absolutely. I hope she gets. I don't want her to get the electric chair. I want her to get the firing squad. I want them to hang her to the muzzle of a military tank and they stone her behind to death. That's what I want to see happen to her mother. But we also need to hold DCF accountable. We need to hold that school accountable. Hold every agency that looked the other way accountable. Because if we don't, then Nia's death is just going to be another line in a long list of children failed by the system. And I'm telling y'all now, if y'all not angry about this, you might be part of the problem. And that's just me keeping it a buck. I can't keep staying quiet with these stories that keep coming my way. I ran across this story when I was doing research on the story I did previously about Brian Vasquez. This one here went completely under the rug to me. I just found this in passing, read up about it, and was immediately pissed. It's crazy. Yeah, that was the PG version. Now, I'm not sugarcoating shit. This was a 7-year-old little girl. 7. It don't take long to count to 7. Still playing with toys, still loving makeup, still trusting the same adults who turn their backs on her. Now she's in a fucking coffin. Because of who? That raggedy bitch of a mom. The one who gave her life. Took it away. I would say with her own hands, but she used her motherfucking feet. Raggedy bitch. Let me ask you this. How many warnings did they need? How many black eyes? How many absences from school? How many times does she need to show up skinny, sick, broken, crying before somebody said, we just not gonna send her back to her mama? But nah, they looked at the paperwork, stamped it, shoved it back, and shoved her ass right back into that fucking hellhole. And they called it family reunification. Oh, that's what you call reunification? The child does nothing wrong. You just gonna send her right back with fucking Lucifer? You gonna send her right back to the fucking devil? You know what that is? That's bureaucratic murder. That's the state writing a death sentence for a goddamn child and pretending their hands are clean. That's the equivalent of them motherfuckers storing rocks in a glass house and hiding their hands. This little girl's liver was lacerated. You know the force it takes for you to do some shit like that? That's like Bruce Lee kicking me in my goddamn ribs as a grown-ass man. You a grown-ass adult kicking a fucking little girl in her stomach. Funky bitch. Her organs shut down. You don't do that by no goddamn accident. That ain't no fall. She didn't trip. That's straight up rage. That's a special kind of violence. That's a grown adult unleashing her will on a baby who couldn't fight back. And now her monkey ass sitting in a jail cell, facing the death penalty. That's good for your funky ass. And people want to argue, should we? Shouldn't we? Yes, you should. You should report this shit all the goddamn time. I don't give a fuck if you standing in Walmart and you see somebody, and you see a mama slap her kid upside the fucking head because baby boy wanted some Skittles. Call DCFS. Fuck that bitch. You don't know what that baby probably dealing with at home. Fuck that. You see something, say something. I'm sick of these bitches getting away with shit. But let's not get it twisted. This ain't just the mama, whatever the fuck her ragged ass name is. This wasn't just her fault. This was this was the system fault too. The so-called DCF, Department of Children and Families. DCF. It should stand for Don't Care for Families. Because they had the reports, they had the photos, they had the testimonies. All they had to do was just come take the kid. Just pick the fucking baby up. That's all they had to do. Just come and get the child. That's it. They had one job. They could have took the child, brought the child right back to the caregiver who she was already with, apparently, for 3 goddamn years before, and filed the paperwork later. That's all they had to do. The other caregiver who she was previously with, who they could have went and bought the child to, she was already saying prior to this, don't bring the babies back to the mama. But yet, that's exactly what they do. Like it was opposite day or something. That's exactly what they do. And now they want to sit up there and act like they were shocked that this shit happened. Now they want to, quote unquote, investigate. No, nigga. It's too late now. You already got blood on your on your hands, bitch nigga. It's too late. And here's the part that nobody wants to admit. And I say this all the time. Children are the least protected among society in this country. We do not protect kids in America. We don't. We protect the fucking abusers. We protect broken parents. We protect bureaucrats who hide behind policy. Kids like Nia, they get treated like crash test dummies. Push them back into the fire and see if they survive. If they don't, oh well, another case closed. That's just another file in another folder that social worker, that caseworker doesn't have to deal with. That's how we treat kids like Nia. I'm sorry, that's how they treat kids like Nia. I'm not a social worker. And then we're supposed to light candles, make hashtags, and act like we care. The hashtags, they never stick around too long. About a few days, maybe a week. And then it's on to regular life. Like I say, this happened in fucking April. I didn't hear about this until last week when I was doing a story on Brian Vasquez. Bruh, I want to be done with the hashtags. I want to be done with the excuses. I want to be done with watching our babies die while grown adults look the other way. Nia missed 50 fucking days of school. 50. Nobody stopped and said, where is this child? What's happening at home? She showed up vomiting in pain days before her deaths. Nobody thought, okay, this is getting kind of weird. That's odd. Do you know how many eyes had to ignore that? Teachers, doctors, caseworkers, judges, all of them failed that child. All of them have that child's blood on their hands. That is diabolical to even think about. And let me say this, and let me just say this as raw as I can. If you can look at a child's broken body, at her scars, her bruises, her empty desk at school, and still send her back home to her bitch of a mom, you are no better than the parent swinging the belt. You are no better than the parent swinging a fist doing the beating, because you're an accomplice at that point, plain and simple. So yes, fuck that. I'm angry. My YouTube channel ain't monetized. Hell, I might not even surpass 50 or 100 views on this video, so I'm gonna cuss my motherfucking ass off at this point. I'm past the PG portion already. Fuck that. Because Nia's story, this shit ain't rare. This ain't the first time, and this won't be the last damn time I come up here talking about a dead goddamn child. She ain't the first time that the system fucked up. We gonna have to rip this system down to the studs and rebuild this shit. Did I not just talk about Brian Vasquez last week? You want to talk about death penalty? That bitch needs the death penalty too. Bruh, I'm sick of hearing excuses. Oh, we did our best. Your best wasn't enough. Your best was this child in the body bag still. So when I say her name, Nia Williams, I say it with rage. I say that name with grief. I say that name as a reminder. Because the next time a caseworker stamps that paper, the next time a judge says return to custody, the next time a teacher ignores the bruises, think about it. It could be another Nia. And if we let that happen, that blood's on all of us too. Because if you knew that shit was going on and you did nothing, you're just as guilty as DCF. That blood is just as thick on you. That's why I say if you see something, say something. If you see something, say something. Bruh. Mackenzie Anderson, Majelic Young, Carissa Lewis, Kendrick Lee, Damari Perry, Nemaya Hall, Brian Vasquez I talked about last week, Nia Williams. These ain't no random ass names. Look them up. Nia Williams, Brian Vasquez, those are my latest videos. Those other ones aren't random. You won't see their names on the back of NBA jerseys, NFL helmets, because remembering their names don't come with media outcry. Remembering their names don't come with a fucking paycheck. Because they were killed by the one person who was supposed to be here to raise and protect them. They wasn't killed by a fucking cop. Let that sink in. That's why I always said Black lives only matter when it's convenient. These children should still be here in mass. And it's not school shootings or the hood taking them out in the numbers you may believe. And a fun fact, it's not just the moms. It's the fucking fathers too. Bitch, nigga, why reproduce? This goes out to the fellas. This goes out to the women. Man, watch who y'all sleep with. These niggas just as bad. Oh, but these women, they're the ones out here getting custody. They're the ones out here putting your kids in a hell of a lot more danger. Bruh, we need to change the system. We got a lot of work to do. It's crazy out here. Man, y'all be cool. I need to go take me a ride. I'm gonna holler at y'all, man.
Bankai.